condemn Hamas for the atrocity. Yes, I condemn Hamas.
The West has, in my lifetime, forgotten the purpose of war because the true cost of war is so terrible.
Well, joining me now to discuss
this video contains swearing.
It's a TV host and satirist, Bassem Youssef. Bassem, it's great to have you back on the program. I wish it was under different circumstances. First of all, what is your reaction to what happened on October the 7th?
Oh, it was terrible, of course. I mean, we kind of get our news kind of also secondhand because, you know, my wife's family, they live in Gaza. They have cousins and uncles there, and their house also was bombed.
Later,
we
Papa.
haven't been able to communicate with them for the past 3 days. Communication lost. So we don't know actually what is the how are they doing. But you know, we're used to that. I mean, it's just like it's very repetitive. We're used to that. We're used to them being bombed every time and moving from one place to the other. You know, it's just like those Palestinians. They're very dramatic. Israel killing us, but they never die. I mean, they always come back. You know, they're very difficult. Very difficult people to. I know because I'm married to one. I tried many times. Couldn't get her.
Hold on. Is my brother serious? I'm trying not to laugh, man, but what he's saying, okay. Is he serious? This sounds hilarious the way he's talking about it. He's like, man, it was just so difficult to kill him, but we tried. They're just going to come back.
I mean, there's a dark humor there, and I understand why, because...
Oh, it's not dark humor. I try to get to her every time, but she uses our kids as human shields. I can never take her out.
Again, I understand the humor, but to be serious, Bassem, about this, tonight
I will be serious. Now, I will be serious. I was watching your interview with Ben Shapiro, and I'll tell you one thing.
Yeah.
I think that Ben Shapiro is one of the smartest people who ever walked this earth. He's very, very smart. I follow him, and I believe everything he said. And when he came on your show, his solution was, and I quote, his solution was that the solution for this is for Israel to annex Gaza and to kill as many sons of as possible to make sure that this will never happen again. And anyone who called for a ceasefire will be a terrorist sympathizer. So God forbid, I don't want to be labeled as a terrorist sympathizer. So I agree with Ben Shapiro. I think we should kill as many sons of as possible.
Well, let me,
so
okay,
far,
but Bassem, let me...
so far, 3,500 people were, including 5,000 sons of in the bombing of the Baptist hospital as we speak right now. 1/3 of those 3,500 were children. So my question to Ben Shapiro is, how many more sons of do we need to so Ben Shapiro is happy?
Okay,
because it changes
Bassem,
from 1 year. It changes from one. I'm sorry that. Listen, I'm really at a disadvantage here. I'm looking at a camera. I don't see you. I can hear you on my ear.
The reason I'm interrupting is I think you might be. I think you're conflating different interviews with Ben Shapiro. He didn't use the phrase "sons of me." Let me play to you what he actually said on my show.
He did. Go back to your interview.
No, he didn't. That was another interview. But let me play what he said to me here.
Well, frankly, I don't believe in proportionate response to terrorism. I believe that the way that you stop terrorism is with wildly disproportionate response. That doesn't mean in terms of targeting civilians. It means in terms of killing as many terrorists as humanly possible and allowing them to dictate the terms of engagement by hiding behind civilians in areas that they're supposedly responsible for means that the only option for Israel is to surrender to Hamas's hatred of its own citizens, its willingness to use its own children as human shields. No country worth its salt could ever do that.
Now, that is substantively different to what you said he said, right? He's talking there
but
specifically about Hamas terrorists.
I agree with him. The thing is, the question is, what is a proportionate response? Because it has been different from one tier to another. So if you look to this graph, for example, this is the Israeli and Palestinians, and it's changing from 1 year to year. It's like fluctuating like crypto. So my question is today, what is the going rate today for human lives? I mean, 2014 was a great year for Ben Shapiro. 88 Israelis were dead, and there was 2,329 Palestinians on the other side. That is one Israeli for 27 Palestinians. That is a very good exchange rate. What I'm saying is, what is the exchange rate for today? You guys will be happy. That's my question.
Well, it's not me, guys.
Yo, all right, so first of all, whoever this guy is, the way he communicates his points is absolutely hilarious, even though he's not trying to be funny. Maybe he is trying to be funny. I don't know, because it does say that he is, it says he's a comedian. So, but how he communicates his point is the truth. What is enough? He said that there should not be a proportionate response. It should be a disproportionate response. That's what Ben Shapiro said. And he's saying, at what point is enough enough?
I'm not on either
No,
side.
no, not you. Like when I say you guys, I say like the people on the other side of that. I know that you don't think like that, Piers. You're one of the good guys. But let me tell you something. I mean, the reason that I'm using this is that, I mean, I can't remember what happened in 2014. And there was no music festival, but there must be something. I mean, they must do something. It is their fault. It has to be something. I mean, 2018, 300 Palestinians died. Who's counting, you know? So the thing is, what my question is,
He said in 2018, how many died?
It has to be something. I mean, 2018, 300 Palestinians died. Who's counting?
Wow. Guys, think about how he's putting it down. Think about how he's putting it down. That's all I'm saying.
You know, so the thing is, what my question is, let's find what is the exchange rate for human life today so we know, expect the future death of Palestinians and we'll be happy to it.
My response to that would be this, Bassem. I've thought carefully about this. Because I think it's very tricky for people like me to immerse ourselves into a conflict where we're not directly involved. And I thought carefully about what I feel about this. I feel that the scale of what Hamas did on October the 7th supersedes anything else I've seen in this conflict, really ever. The savagery, the butchery, the slaughter of 1,300 people, the shooting of babies, the
100%.
kidnapping of grandmothers and so on. So if we can agree on that, which I think is inarguable, then the question then becomes, again, about proportion. I don't disagree that there's been a lot of bad stuff on both sides going back historically for decades. But if we agree that this was on a different level altogether, quite deliberately by Hamas, designed to provoke... No, here's my question. Let me ask you a question. And the question, because you raised it earlier about proportion. I honestly don't know what the proportionate response is. I honestly don't. I don't. I've been watching the airstrikes this week thinking...
So what's your question?
Well, I would ask you, if you were Israel, what would you...
If I was Israel.
If you were Israel and that had happened to you, what would you think would be the appropriate way for the country to respond?
Great question, Piers. Excellent question.
I would do exactly like Israel did. As many people as possible, since the world is letting me do it. I mean, I can do it because I can, you know. But the thing is, you know what? I agree with you. And you know what? I'm going to be even ahead of you because I see the question coming. Do you condemn Hamas for the atrocity? Yes, I condemn Hamas. I condemn Hamas. I condemn Hamas is the source of all evil. They're a reason for everything. And you know what? Let's, for a minute, imagine a world without Hamas.
Right.
What will this world look like? Let's give this word a name. And let's name this word the West Bank. Hamas has absolutely no control in the West Bank. And since the beginning of this year, only through August, 37 Palestinian kids were killed. No music festival, no paragliding, no Hamas. Since the occupation of the West Bank, 7,000 Palestinians were killed. No music festival, no paragliding, no Hamas.
Wow.
I can go on and on and on and on.
No, but you don't need to, because in a way you're preaching to the choir. I've followed this crisis.
Oh no, you're not preaching. So the thing is, like,
in the sense that I know that what you're saying has validity. Of course.
Piers. By the way, Piers. I am at a disadvantage here. I can hear you. I cannot see you. I am in a claustrophobic room. And so please cut me some slack and don't interrupt me and interrupt my points.
Sure.
So because this has to be fair.
Understand.
Because if you want to only hear your opinion, I can just condemn Hamas and go home. I can do that. So do you want to do that, or do you have a much more nuanced conversation?
No, I absolutely want to have a nuanced conversation. I wasn't aware I was interrupting you. I thought I was letting you speak.
Amazing. So let's. I mean, I would say.
Piers interrupt people so damn much that now he don't even understand when he's interrupting people. Much love to Piers for constantly keeping the foot on the gas. He's keeping his foot on people's necks so he can get the information that he needs from people. But yeah, this should be a good conversation.
Really applaud Israel for doing one thing that no military force in the world
Hey,
does.
Jeanette.
Because I heard Ben Shapiro and I heard Ron DeSantis, and they said Israel is the only military force in the world that warns civilians before bombing them. I mean, how cute. That is so nice of them. Because with this logic, if Russian troops started warning Ukrainians before bombing their houses, we're cool with Putin, right? I mean, okay, Habibi, you have warned them, go invade. It's fine. You have done your job. I mean, the thing is, and I understand, and I also heard Ben Shapiro talking about Human Shield. So you remember my wife's family, they live in Gaza. So I told them, when Israel give you the nice warning, the cute warning, does Hamas force you to stay in your home so you can be bombed and use as Human Shield? You know what, Hassan here, my wife's cousin, he's a loser, you know. He told me, you know, when I asked him, does that happen? He told me, no. The lying son of lied to me. I told him, you don't understand. Ben Shapiro and Ron DeSantis keep saying that Israel warned you and Hamas asked you to stay put. So I told you, he's a loser. He never kept a job. He even failed in all of the interviews to become like a human shield. I would believe Ben Shapiro.
Let me ask you this, Bassem.
So let's go with that. No. Let me ask you
At some point, I must be able to ask you questions. It's not a monologue for you, Bassem.
If we agree that
that's true too. It's not a monologue for main man. He cannot see Piers. He can only hear him. He can't see him. He just talking to his camera, and that's when he knows when to respond. But he's putting on such long-winded conversation just to answer one question, and I see where he's coming from. He's being very slick in the way that he throws jabs at Piers and anyone else who think the way that Ben Shapiro thinks. I see what he's doing. He's not slick, but Piers needs to take control of this conversation. Until he does, he's going to continue to put the information out there that Piers don't want to hear. Piers don't want to hear it.
For the 14,000 casualties, I mean, who's counting? Our human shield. Does that mean that every single one of those civilians was standing, obscuring a military target behind them? Because that's a lot of weapons. I mean, Hamas is packing.
No, of course it doesn't. And look,
so there's some collateral damage. Lots of collateral damage.
Yes.
It's fine, yeah. You kill some to save some and then some more. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. Again, it comes back to proportionate response. When the world decided it had to get rid of ISIS because of the appalling butchery they were carrying out, it did so by also killing, very sadly, a lot of civilians along the way by doing airstrikes against places which
But killing civilians are inevitable. You said that in the beginning.
My point is,
it's inevitable.
Yeah, but once Israel has decided that they want to get rid of Hamas, and Hamas is embedded with civilian population, I'm very concerned about what's going to happen next. I've written a column tonight saying, I remember the Iraq War, which I opposed, right? I remember all this. So my question for you is, what would you think would be an appropriate response by Israel to what happened?
Well, these are years of disproportionate responses of Israel.
Right.
Did it solve the solution? Did it solve the problem? Did it work before, so it will work? What will be the surprise this time?
Question, guys. Was that a proportionate response over the years? Look at the numbers. The numbers is just the thousands of people from Palestine that Israel has been killing over the years. I'm just now learning about this myself, but we see the graph, and we're trying to figure out how has this helped the situation. That's it. All right. Hopefully you guys are following along with me too. And it's good to try to understand both sides of any coin. That's how we move forward in conversation. Some people don't want to hear that.
Solve the problem? Did it work before, so it will work? What will be the surprise this time? What will be the twist that will make this work this time? What will be different this time? Seriously, I mean, this is only the last 15 years. I mean, because it's too many papers. I just got this. But how will this be different? And the thing is, I am so glad in the introduction that you mentioned the Iraq War. I applaud you, Piers, for saying that, because you were honest about it. You said that spreading lies like WMDs make people look at those people as less of humans, and they would accept the death of 1 million Iraqi, whether by sanctions or by invasion, right? You are a good man. This is amazing. And you know what is similar? Is when you spread the lies of 40 decapitated babies, although it was refuted. So what happens when people hear that, babies is horrible. But when you say 40 babies, you are planting a certain image with a certain trigger in people's mind.
Who has said that? Who has said 40?
Who has said that? You have said 40 decapitated.
Who has said that?
You have repeated.
No, I haven't.
What?
I've never said that.
You haven't said on your show 40 decapitated babies?
Never.
Ben Shapiro didn't say it?
No.
Ron DeSantis didn't say
Nobody
it?
has said it.
Okay, Piers, nobody
haven't.
said it?
No.
I can't say whether or not Piers has said it on his show, but I have heard it. I don't know if Piers have said it.
Oh, okay. Okay, maybe I am wrong.
You're wrong. I've never said that.
What happened, no, you're wrong. But the thing is, the same thing is happening in Iraq. Ben Shapiro once tweeted, not even about Gaza, about the West Bank, when Israel continued to build the illegal settlement. He said, 2017, Israel likes to build things, and Arabs, not Palestine, not Hamas, Arabs like to bomb crap and live in open sewage.
Yeah, I thought that was very
the Israeli defense minister, he said, those are human animals. And the thing is, Ben Shapiro should know better, because, long before the Holocaust, before Jewish people were thrown in the gas chambers, the Nazi propaganda called them rats. Now, as a human being, I will never accept that another human being thrown into a gas chamber, but a rat, let 10. 3,500. They are son of a bitch. They are human animals who live in open sewage and decapitate babies. And because of that propaganda, Mr. Morgan, that guy in Illinois, the 71 years old guy, he killed the 6 years old Palestinian, 26 times. And he used to play with him. They used to be friends. But he went in, marching into their apartment, stabbing his mother, and him, shouting, all Muslims could die.
Yeah.
It took you 80 years to change one word from Jewish to Muslim. And then you transferred your guilt to us and took away our land.
Bassem, let me ask you a question.
That deal sucks, man.
Let me ask you a question. How do we get from where we are now to peace?
Well, first of all,
another good question.
You need to change the perception. Nikki Haley, the American presidential candidate, said, we are in Israel in this because it's a fight between good and evil. Now, if you already decided someone is good, he can do no evil. And if you decided someone is evil, it's good to kill them. Killing them is good. And the thing is, it is not like something new. I mean, I look at history and I see, I'm sorry to say this, but Westerners has always dealt like this with indigenous people. You first treated them like savages, Native American, First Nation, Aboriginal. They're savages. Kill the savages. And then when they're almost extinct, you start feeling sorry for them, like animals. So maybe the solution is that we kill as many Palestinians as possible so the few of them that remain do not bother you. And maybe Netanyahu, when he lives for another 100 years, he'll become a tree hugger.
Let me just challenge you on this.
And he will campaign for preserving the free Palestinian.
You keep talking about Westerners like me. Okay, so let me return the favor, okay? Hamas is dedicated to the complete eradication of Jewish people.
I am not the spokesman for Hamas.
I'm not saying you are.
Why do you keep...
I'm not saying you are.
I'm not their spokesman.
You're talking...
I them. Hamas.
Hamas.
No, are you happy?
You're missing my point.
Yeah, he's definitely missing the point. The point is you're generalizing Westerners for speaking a certain type of way, and you want Piers Morgan to explain the position of all Westerners. But when he flip it on his head and he just explained to you what they've dedicated their lives to do, he then want to just go ahead and just completely just say, okay, I'm not with Hamas. I don't care about what Hamas want to do. F them. I ain't got nothing to do with them. All right. Same thing. You cannot bring certain type of generalizations to a conversation and not accept any on your side, because then that makes the conversation disingenuous. I get it that you want to prove your side. You want to prove a point. You want there to be understanding of your perspective, right? But you gotta afford them the same consideration as well when it comes to their perspective. So I can see how this guy is absolutely hilarious in how he communicates. Absolutely 1,000%. And I have a better understanding. Every single time I listen to these conversations, I have a better understanding of both sides, which is good. But I'm not a heartstring type of person. You call them bad people and then you treat them like bad people. That's propaganda. Pull on people's heartstrings to make them look like monsters. Then you now have a pass to do whatever you want to do. I get all of that because I've heard that many times too. I cannot sit here and say emphatically that I've heard it on Piers Morgan or that I've heard it on Ben Shapiro, but I have heard it, right? If I had to go back and look at my own reactions of certain conversations on this topic, I'm certain I'll come across. Piers Morgan probably did say it, but he know that this guy don't remember. He know he's not going to back it up. So there's that.